what is left for Monster Energy Supercross to deliver in 2019? How about following the closest point spread we've ever seen after 6 races with perhaps the closest finish in a race we've ever seen at any round, at any point in the 45-year history of this championship, as just 0.028 seconds separated first and second place. It was so close that I was left to tweet, "I don't know who won," as the 2 riders came across the finish line. That's how good it is. Of course, this review brought to you by the folks at Race Tech. These are gold valves. I know why you're here. You're not here to find out who won. You're here to win gold valves. So link is in the description under the video on YouTube. Sign up, send an email. We'll give away a set of these every week. Plusher, but better bottoming resistance and more traction, designed and manufactured right here in the USA. You know what else they like in the USA? A good old-fashioned comeback story. America loves a comeback, and what a career comeback it is for Cooper Webb, who has now won 4 out of the first 7 races this year. That stat belies how close the season has been, how close the finishes have been, the races, and of course the points, as I mentioned. And it doesn't get closer than what we saw tonight. Cooper Webb edging out Ken Roczen, who is the most overdue pregnant human being that has ever walked the face of this planet. He still has not won a race since his brutal injuries 2 years ago, and tonight he finishes second by the smallest margin of victory, we believe, probably in the history of Supercross. That probably hurts. But the spectacular part of this is not just that Cooper Webb won by a record small margin. It's the fact that he did it coming through traffic. Now, Cooper in the past was not a very good starter, and he said one of his great strengths as a racer was simply digging down deeper than the other riders. And the more we learned about his transformation this year, we learned that a lot of that was due to the fact that Cooper maybe wasn't in the best shape of anyone else on the track, and he also wasn't a very good starter. So he was left with nothing else but just digging deep in the latter laps and willing these wins to happen. But he's erased those 2 weaknesses now. He's obviously in great shape, and his starts have been aces nearly all year. But this time, the start didn't work out. He was buried. He had to get around Blake Baggett, and he had to get around Joey Savacci, and he had to catch Marvin Musquin. And at one point, we thought he would have to get Eli Tomac, but then Tomac went down. But late in the race, it started to materialize. Wait a minute, could Cooper catch Musquin and Roczen and somehow win this race and win his 4th in 7 events? And that's when the old Cooper Webb, digging deep, executing in the clutch that we saw in the 250 class, kicked in here. I've seen it before. This is one of the few people on the planet that can say that they run down Jeffrey Hurlings and beaten him in a race. And you folks are probably saying, whatever, that's a motocross race. That was 250s. It doesn't count. That's the spirit that's in Cooper Webb, and he has referenced that day in Charlotte at a GP when he beat Jeffrey Hurlings as the one guiding light for him to know that he still has talent, he still has ability, he has to figure out a way to unlock it again, but he's going to be good again. And we saw the old Cooper Webb digging deep, combined with the new Cooper Webb who's in really good shape, executing and beating Roczen by an incredibly close finish. And even though every headline this season is about how close the championship is, one rider has won 4 out of 7. One rider has won in Triple Crowns. One rider has won with good starts. One rider has won with bad starts. This is the look of a championship season. And I know it's ridiculous. And the comments under this video are going to say, you cannot give someone the title 7 rounds into a 17-race championship. But we've seen this type of performance before. Perhaps the best rider in the series is right in front of us. It's just hard to recognize because this was a rider that no one was thinking of as championship material when the season began. And if you're Ken Roczen, you're certainly going to have something to say about that. Roczen was so close to the win, and furthermore, he knows he has to play the consistency card knowing the way he has crashed out of this championship the last 2 years. So as frustrated as he must be over a continued series of near wins and not getting them, especially being so close tonight, at the same time, if anyone can calm himself and say, just stay in it, stay in it, stay in it, it's Ken Roczen. So that's bound to help. Now, we did have a 250 race tonight. Yes, I'm going to talk about it. Austin Forkner won again. He's led most of the laps in the heats and mains this year. He's been the fastest guy in practice. That makes it look dominant. But at times, Chase Sexton was running him down tonight. And at times, Jordan Smith was running him down tonight. They made the mistakes. So that's a big change for Forkner, who coming into the season, and a lot of the practice sessions this year, has looked like the fastest but also sketchiest rider. In the races, he's actually been the rider making the least mistakes. And also, by the way, is going very fast. He actually admitted that Sexton and Smith were catching him at times. He kind of lost track of his breathing, had a stomach cramp, and he was ready to yield to them. He didn't want to do the old Austin Forkner ride over his head and crash. But in the end, they made mistakes, and he was able to go on and get the victory. It's still close, though. Sexton and Smith can take some confidence out of the fact that they were running Forkner down at different times. We'll see how that turns out. We are going to a Triple Crown in Detroit next weekend. Yeah, that'll shake it up. Although whatever obstacle they've thrown at Cooper Webb this year, he's handled it pretty well. That's the look of a champion. We'll see what happens after round 17. Thanks for watching.